Well, I am Cynthia Yates. My husband Joseph and I bought this house almost exactly 5 years ago. We bought it on short sale. It was unfinished. So just about everything you see we have done. Every bit of fencing, many of the trees, outbuildings. We started the garden last year, and it's been neglected for the past 5 weeks because of company. So enjoy. Okay, here's what you need to know about me. I've written 8 books, and 7 of them are on basically frugal living and lifestyle. So I discovered this Craigslist recently, and on Craigslist there's this thing called free. So I push on it every day, and suddenly I find things that are free, and many of the things that you are looking at are free. This was free. This was free. There's a wooden sculpture down at the end of the porch right now that I got yesterday for free. And in the garden, in the backyard, you'll see so many things free. My motto is, if it's free, it's for me. So let's go see. So this is our elderberry that we transplanted from the berry area. In Bavaria, elderberries are often placed at the entrance to something important, either an elderberry bush or an elderberry tree, and you actually doff your hat to the elderberry. And so this is grandfather, and he survived the transplanting, starting to do okay. The thing that he's in, that terracotta thing I got for free from Kenyon Noble because it was cracked. So this is supposed to be flowers. I planted a bunch of bulbs, and finally this week they're starting to show some color and they're starting to look like flowers. But what we did is we created our own palette so that we could have, in my mind's eye, it was going to be a lot cuter than it turned out. But anyway, this is the bulb garden at this point. Next year, lots more bulbs. This is Meredith Auden's garden. She's our youngest granddaughter. While she was here, she built and, with Papa, she built and planted this little flower garden and painted the tops. We got this wood for free from a construction site. This is affectionately called our cornhole. And I'm not even remotely interested in getting a crop. I just planted that there for architectural detail. But when I look at other people's corn, it's twice as high, so I'm thinking it's really sad. Okay, this is made from a bunch of lumber that I got off of Craigslist and leftover scraps. Our grandson, who is 11, John Beckett, he built this with Papa a few weeks ago, and John Beckett wanted irises. The beauty of this is that these irises came from a friend of ours, her grandmother's garden in Pittsburgh. Okay, this is a new bed this year because, again, remember we expanded the garden by half again. The reason for the rocks in front of it is because we measured wrong and we dug out all the sod. And then we had this big gaping hole in front, so we had all these rocks, and that's where we put them. This is pathetic. Last year, my peppers literally were worthy of a Martha Stewart magazine, but this year, this is what I got. And this is an example of neglect. My beans are pathetic. Cucumbers are starting to come in, but ew. I think I need to fertilize. I'm not sure. This is a new strawberry bed this year from, got the plants at Cashman's. And last year we got strawberry plants, and we'll see the other bed. I know we're not supposed to harvest strawberries the first year, but these berries are just big and luscious. So this bed is about, I don't know, it went in June, I'm guessing. Pretty, isn't it? Okay, so here's the deal. There's a few things to tell you about this. Yeah, and this might be one of my mistakes. You know, we're from the Big Fork area. We lived in Big Fork forever, and I gardened there for 10 years. And I think I'm still acting like I'm living in Big Fork with my gardening practices here. And this is just entirely different here in Bozeman. But we knew one thing, and that's the first year we moved in, even though this backyard was empty, we put in the asparagus. We knew we had to do that. Well, last year I read that a great companion plant for asparagus was parsley. So I put in parsley as a companion plant. And holy cow, we have made so much parsley pesto. I can't begin to tell you. It's really been happy there. I'm letting it go to seed right now, but this is our asparagus patch. call this the pyramid. It was one of the first things we built last year when we started putting in. We're trying to rotate crops. This year I do a lot of fermenting, so I'm making, in Polish we call it kapusta. I'm making a lot of sauerkraut, so I'm growing a lot of cabbage. Swiss chard, the gift that keeps on giving. Not a whole lot you can do to hurt Swiss chard. And my beets, I make a fermented beet drink called kvass. And so we use everything that's here. And I read that sage and onions, or did I hear Toby Day say it? I don't know. I read or heard that sage and onions are just wonderful throughout your garden, unless it's string beans. I said to Joseph last year, look, I found this on Pinterest, so you'll build it. And so Joseph built that for me, and we thought we'd have climbing cucumbers and beans, and so this year we transplanted some honeysuckle, and we put hops, and they seem to be happy here, except something's eating them. This is one crop that I'll probably keep putting back in the same place every year. I tried to make a top out of screening to protect it in case we got hail, but oh well. Then Joseph said, you idiot, hail comes sideways. So anyway, these are our tomatoes with basil as a companion plant. And also I read in Cheryl's book that you use African marigolds, not just regular marigolds, but African marigolds when you put in marigolds as a companion plant or a protective plant. And here I have basil. So we're making a lot of, I'm making a lot of basil pesto too. So anyway, last year I said, Joseph, you'll build me an outhouse. And the whole idea is for garden tools. And we have a friend from Poland, and she actually came over and painted Polish folk art on it. And if you pan to the right, you'll see an addition we put onto this garden shed, and that has our lawnmowers in it. And then farther to the right, we painted those sunflowers on the side of the garden shed. And our sunflowers are about a third the size of everybody else's in the world. So, and then we had this extra ladder, so we put a ladder over to the right of the sunflowers, and that's supposed to be Virginia creeper. Okay, here we are in front of the Great Wall. We've been extending this Great Wall around the back of the property to make it very private. Now you see this here, all this business? This was a free crib that somebody put on Craigslist. Here's another part of that free crib. Here is an onion. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to dry my onions by putting them, I'm going to make a base.
Oh, look at that, yeah.
And then I'm just going to dry my onions like that.
Okay.
I learned that on Pinterest. Garden Club, here we are at our fire pit. This was part of this year's phase 6, we called it, graveling it so we didn't have to move all this heavy furniture when we cut the grass. And Joseph and I want to extend an invitation to all of you to come here and share a campfire with us someday.